let's move on to the issues of the day. And I thought, Senator Dibble, I would start with you. We do have questions from viewers that we're going to get to that are really I think important and are going to be illuminating. But you've been in the news recently on an issue that we've discussed before, and that's the question about the Met Council and how it should be organized, and should there be a change in the way Met Council members are elected. Could you introduce that issue to our viewers and talk a little bit about what, if anything, is happening on that topic in this current legislative session?
Certainly. So the Metropolitan Council, if folks are not familiar with it, is the regional government. So it's the unit of government that kind of is an umbrella over the 7-county metropolitan area. And so it's like a super county, kind of, and it provides some essential services, namely transit, sewer services. It has a role in supporting our regional park system. That's a kind of a multi-jurisdictional undertaking. It has authority over land use. So interestingly, it has the ability to direct all of the municipalities in the metropolitan area and how they plan for housing and commercial districts, et cetera. And so as such, it has a tremendous amount of authority, and it controls billions of dollars in assets and hundreds of millions of dollars in services that directly affect people's lives. Interestingly, though, it's unlike a county or a municipality, its leaders are all appointed. They're appointed by the governor, confirmed by the Senate. It has property tax authority as well. And so it really needs to be a unit of government that, rather than is one of 20 or more priorities. There's education, there's the Health and Human Services Department, Department of Corrections, and on all of these cabinet level agencies go. It feels like it really should be that level of government for whom the regional priorities are the most important thing, and is in a really strong position to advocate, and should be able to really have a level of accountability and transparency for the services it provides, much like we do as elected representatives, county commissioners have, mayors, city council members, et cetera, and should, in so doing, have a much stronger relationship with all of those units of government as it has authority and as it's trying to unify the region around a common set of priorities, allocating resources, et cetera. And recently, some issues have come up around, I believe, that lack of accountability, that transparency. We've seen, major transit line, the Southwest Corridor, be extended by a number of years, become more and more expensive. And the analysis that some have, including myself, is that that may well have happened because they do a lot of their work kind of out of sight and without that kind of accountability that the rest of us might have for what a lot of people would view as a fairly substantial series of errors. So my position is that we solve a lot of problems, the kind of the political position of the entity, the ability for it to really draw the region together and unify it around a common set of purposes, as well as the kinds of things that would drive, I think, better decisions, being more available to information from outside interests and outside experts and people who have, good ideas, is to make it elected. And so that's what I hope we can do. At a minimum, it would spark a really important conversation we need to have, but I really do feel like that would be a fairly substantial and significant important reform for,
and has a bill to that effect been introduced? Has a bill to that effect been introduced? Where does the governor stand on this question?
So the bill hasn't quite yet been introduced. I'm waiting for the magic moment to introduce it, but it is jacketed and ready to go. And the governor has indicated to me that he would sign that bill if we're able to pass it and get it to his desk.
Senator Pratt, your thoughts on Met Council and Met Council related issues? Senator Pratt, you need to unmute. We're not hearing you. Okay, so we'll come back to Senator Pratt. Representative McDonald, Met Council
Yes.
issues.
Yeah, can you hear me now? The old saying. I agree with Senator Dibble. I'm glad to hear that, Senator. This board, this unelected board, with so much authority and taxing authority, and the ability to spend millions of dollars, elected. I tell you, I've been involved politically in the Delano area, with starting with the Chamber of Commerce and the City Council, and the mayor, and now Legislator. We in Wright County are very, very pleased, and will do everything we can to fight to ensure that the Met Council doesn't come out into Wright County and infiltrate into our elected officials who know what's best for our neighbors and our communities and our business community. I think there's a lack of transportation, or lack of transparency and accountability. It's grown too big, an unelected board, spending too much money with taxing authority. It definitely needs reforms. We've tried for many years to make reform and ensure that there is accountability and transparency within the Met Council. But I hope that that'll be a success this year. I'll just reiterate again, in Wright County and Meeker, we don't want anything to do with the Met Council. And that's not just me speaking, that is many, many folks, businessmen and women, residents, elected officials in our county and cities. So that's my brief thought of the Met Council.
What we had a little technical issue, and I wanted to go back to you on the question of the Met Council, because I know you've been watching that issue closely as well. So I want to give you an opportunity to respond to that, and then we'll move on to some more questions from our viewers.
Sure. Senator Dibble and I have been talking about the Met Council for many years. I think the first time we started working on something was back in 2016. I have a little bit different take on how we should be fixing the Met Council, and that is to be more in line with the other planning organizations we have in the state. The Met Council is considered a metropolitan planning organization, and we have roughly 26 of them in the state, and they are all the members are locally elected officials that also serve on the MPO. And so I think that's a model we can bring to the Met Council that will provide some local accountability back to our cities and counties. And I'll also be dropping a bill that is supported by the 5 suburban ring counties to do that, to make sure that we have a county level representative, plus we have our districts divided up, a special seat for Minneapolis, a special seat for St. Paul, and the governor appoints the chair.
Do you think, I asked Senator Dibble the question about whether or not the governor might be supportive, and he indicated the governor would be supportive if it can be passed. Do you see bipartisan support for this? I mean, we have bipartisan support on this call. What about the bodies as a whole?
I'd have to take a look. I do have some concerns about direct election of Metropolitan Council representatives, in that, I mean, quite honestly, their districts are bigger than our Senate districts. And those are going to be expensive and highly contested elections where we're going to see a lot of special interest money coming in. I don't know that we need another level of elected officials. I think our locally elected officials, our county commissioners, our city council people, our township supervisors can do a fine job without putting their own interests above the interests of the region.
Senator Dibble, I'm going to give you the last shot on Met Council, and then we're going to move on. Anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, I would just say that, open to all kinds of ideas. The bottom line is, there's actually a legal theory, if you will, a legal analysis that would argue that the level of power and authority they have is unconstitutional, illegal delegation of power by the executive and the legislative branch, given their taxing authority and the size and scale and scope of the services that they provide. The fact that they have authority over the decisions of other elective bodies. They have the ability to, force changes to comprehensive plans and land use and zoning and the like that's adopted at the municipal level. I think that necessitates elected authority, that's conferred by direct election by the people. But we definitely need to have this conversation. We need to make a decision. We've had many blue ribbon, task forces and studies. They only recommend, basically marginal changes, moving the proverbial deck chairs around on the sinking ship. So we need, I think, a substantial change to this entity. I think it's an opportunity. I don't want to just frame it in the negative. I think it's a real opportunity for the region to pull together and really advocate robustly and muscularly for what it needs.